What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel and our videos for our Push for 3K series for our Brewmaster Monk Monkadies. Today we have a plus 13 Magister Terrace. So with that being said, let's jump right in. Um, the first thing I'd like to say is this first pool is not that difficult. It can be difficult if you do not get the kicks right. Um, and I think if the placement is bad, this placement here isn't too terrible. I think I would really like to pull this more into the one of the corners to where there's a lot more open space for this puddle to grow in the middle of the room if we need to. Just pulling everything to the corner, I think, allows our DPS more freedom of movement. So I think is what I'm going to start trying to do a little bit more often. So if we pull to the middle, it will give Bjorn a lot more space that he can drop that puddle and stay out of it, as opposed to just taking ticking damage over and over and over because he's standing in it. But really, we need to focus on um, taking that, uh, killing everything on top of that sentry, really prioritizing that. This next pool can be a little bit spicy. This is one where you're going to probably lust. You want to take all this aggro, pull it around the corner, and then LOS the cast. Now, making sure you don't LOS yourself from your healer is a big thing. You see me here. We get everything grouped up, stacked up. I commit my leg sweep to get everything locked down for a second, and it's really just focusing that, um, focusing the ranged casters, and make sure that we don't take the polymorphs. Now, there is a way that we can start pulling the pyromancer a little bit earlier. I need to start working on that. I think the way to do it is you go in to the left side of this room down here, and you can kind of pull the pyromancer with an AoE attack or a ranged attack, to pull him closer, so you don't have to do this whole like maze puzzle thing. You see me here get stunned because I step into one of the observer circles. So I kind of just kill this stuff right here and then move slowly through, making sure that I don't LOS myself. I think if you do pull the pyromancer to you as opposed to walking to the pyromancer, you do get to avoid all of these books, which is huge because these books are annoying as fuck to try to fight. And then trying to make sure you don't run into any of the ads that are just doing the whole Mechagon thing where you're getting stuck and teleported back. Be a giant waste of time. So I do think from now on, moving over and just AoE pull or like range pulling the pyromancer to you as opposed to going to him is the way to do this. In a future video, you'll see me do that, or you could watch any of the other Brewmaster Monk videos from like Shah, or any of the other tanking videos. I'm pretty sure Yoda's got some too, where they are actually doing that pull properly, bringing the pyromancer to you. Because the really thing is getting the pyromancer down as fast as possible. You can get into this next group or this next area. I do think there's a way we can skip all of this stuff. We just hug the left side of this room. I think from now on, this way to do it. Pulling this stuff is just a waste of time and a waste of energy and cooldowns. We could just skip all this stuff and go straight into the next area, and we're only pulling that big Titan looking thing, which is probably the way to do it. The problem with this one is like these little ghost little guys, the arcane ghost things. Once they teleport, they do a ton of damage. So making sure that you don't pull them unnecessarily is the way to go. Yeah, these little spell familiars, once they teleport, they do a ton of AoE damage. So making sure that you kill them as quickly as possible, or don't pull these packs at all. So pulling them in to this sentry, and this will be the same thing. I think you could probably pull this sentry. If you skip all this other stuff and pull strictly the sentry, you can probably pull him into the next group of mobs. But really, it's just AoE to sentry, or a target sentry. Really, just blow him up as quickly as possible. Just because every time I try to skip it, someone pulls it. Oh, I'll just pull it. Makes it easier. So here, making sure that we are just killing that as quickly as possible and then moving on. Now we pull this next group. I think the way to do this now is initially everyone was pulling the left side of this room. You have to deal with a pyromancer here, and there's two of the familiars, which just does a shit ton of damage. I think now the way to do it is you pull the right side of this, or I guess when you come in the room, you pull the right side. Because there's less stuff that's deadly, I guess. There's like wood familiar, and then there's like the little snake things or whatever they're called. I forget what they're called. I think that's the only thing you're gonna really worry about. But yeah, so you can see it slightly over there. Then you kind of pull this boss. I have seen videos where there is a glitch for this, or like a little cheese for this boss. If you pull him anywhere, essentially, you can cheese the arcane power up or whatever it's called. The arcane, no, it's not the arcane explosion. It is the refueling thing. Yeah, the refueling protocol. You can cheese the refueling protocol if you pull him to the door. If you leave him here when he does his refueling protocol, it will spawn like 20 orbs that you got to catch. However, if you do the refueling protocol at the door, it only spawns 4 to 5 orbs. So really, only 2 people can need to catch orbs. So it saves a ton of saves a lot of healing for your group. So I'm not sure exactly how many orbs we had to catch there. I caught 2. I'm not really sure how many my group caught. I'm assuming they caught the rest of the 10 to 15 or 20, however many spawns. But you see me here just sitting in the corner, letting him drop all the nasty puddles in the middle of the room right there, that area, and then moving out. So I think in future videos, the way to do this is to just tank him where he is and move him towards the door for the refueling protocol. Because then you don't run into this kind of stuff where he's sitting in his refueling protocol like this arcane puddle area and we can't really do anything. So see here, there's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 12 orbs right here already that we've got to stop. So like I said, if you pull them to the door, you only have to deal with 4. And that's the way to do it. I go and I pull these worms. They do have like a little damage debuff that they can give you. So kind of pulling them on top of other things and killing them is the way to do it, I think. As long as your healer can keep up. Moving into the next hallway area, I think is the hardest part of this dungeon. It takes the most focus on not dying. There's a lot of stuff in this hallway that will kill you almost instantly. So being able to LOS stuff, making sure that you have all the kicks you need, because these masters are incredibly powerful, is really key. So I kind of think if you are running probably 16, 17s up to 18s to 20s, you're kind of pulling this in 2 pools. You're going to pull the first couple groups and you're going to pull the second couple groups. As long as you can use paralysis or something to lock down the cast. This spellbinder is incredibly deadly. So making sure that you hard focus them and just AoE everything else on top of them. That's the way to do this. So you see me here doing spinning crane kick. It really does nothing. It's a waste of a spell, a waste of a global cooldown. I probably should have just continued to do Tire Palm. Um, like I said in my last video, I have changed my talent a little bit. I was running, I forget what it is, but like uh, a choice no between hitting multiple targets with your blackout kick or not. And I've switched to using where I'm hitting multiple targets with my blackout kick, as opposed to having a 3-second blackout kick. It is a damage increase and it's a threat increase. Really, that's probably why I'm doing it. With the change in Brewmaster meta being everything is kind of high key. People pushing high keys are moving to Master of Harmony, which is what I've always played. It's kind of validating knowing that. Um, when everyone's running Shadow Pan and I wanted to run Master of Harmony just because I like the way it plays more. And people are moving to that now. It's really nice to see that. But again, you get these spell breakers, killing them as quickly as possible so you can spawn the next boss is the way to go. Now, I think in high keys, you will probably pull a couple of those groups together and you will lust that trash as opposed to waiting and lusting this boss or the third boss. I think if you lust the first boss, or if you hold your lust for here and then you can lust the end boss potentially after 10 minutes, your 10-minute cooldown. So this is a pretty simple boss fight. You get your suppression zone gets spawned, and then 2 people are going to get hit with this blade essentially. The objective is for the tank to hold theirs as much as possible. You can hear me saying, you could take yours, and Skeptic will usually hold his, or he'll say like, "Oh, I'm good for a second." I think in an uncoordinated group, the healer would prefer that the DPS drop theirs first, and the tank can hold theirs for a second. Making sure that the group is topped off before that second explosion of damage happens. You see us here. We're trying to keep uptime as much as possible. We only have one melee besides myself. Our shaman Bjorn is a melee, so kind of keeping the suppression zone as close, or keeping the boss as close to the suppression zone as possible. That way, when we run in to the suppression zone, Bjorn still has the ability to target him, and it's not getting just dead time where he's not doing anything. Is the way to go. So you see here, we kind of just rotate around the suppression zone a bit, and then when he casts his mark, people can kind of run in, run out when they need to. You see me here, run in, get rid of mine. Then Anali gets theirs. I think on that one, probably Anali should have got theirs first, healed up the group, and then I would have got mine, because I can live for a little bit with it. So we here, move here, grab this part of the dungeon, summon into this thing, and then the hallway becomes void again. Now, as these voids spawn, this part of the hallway is easier than it was before. You can kind of, as long as you get threat initially from these guys, you can pull them on top of the next group, and you can pull this all the way to the top of the dungeon. As long as you get the kick on this Void Walker, you should be good to move all the way up. You see me here making this gigantic pool. It allows people to kind of funnel, cast on that Void Walker, and then you can just AoE blow up everything else on top of it. A lot of these mobs are just just regular general white hitting mobs, which aren't that deadly. So moving in here, we pull these little voidlings, which are just general mobs. on top of the big Void Walker behind us. Um, this Void Walker isn't that big of a deal. He does have a cast you need to make sure you kick. So kicking that is important. Um, but other than that, he's not that big of a deal. It's really just a ton of damage on top of each other, um, making sure that you're just using your defensive wisely. You shouldn't really have to commit any major defenses to this guy. He's kind of just hit him until he dies kind of thing. You want to kind of save your defenses for the ads before the next boss. There's a giant heal absorb that happens. There's a couple of these void terrors. You making sure that you kick those void terrors so they don't fear everybody into everything else. I think pulling this pack into the next room around the corner and LOSing it is probably the way to go. That way, if you do get feared, you're kind of just stuck in the corner. And you aren't going to get feared or terrorize and run into another group of mobs that's around this corner or like around this area here. So pulling this into the room around the corner is the way to go. Make sure you kick that terror and then you go. I think when there's a group of like 3 or 4 of these things where there's 4 terrors, you can make sure that you have like a kick rotation. You can hear us in the background kind of saying like, I got this kick. I try to make sure that I kick as much as possible. I want the DPS to just keep uptime and do as much damage as possible. So if there's a way that I can kick multiple times in a row with leg sweep, kick, ring of peace, I will do it just so our DPS can continue DPSing and not worrying about, those minor mechanics. Whatever they did, it's the art bar pops up randomly. So you hear this, just making sure you kick the Void Terror until it's dead, and then you kick the Void Walker. That Void Walker cast is not the worst. If it does go off, you will be fine. The thing is, you want to kick the Void Terror, make sure you don't get feared. If you get feared at this point in the dungeon, you're probably going to wipe, and it'll brick the key more than likely. So pulling this Void Terror, this is a very, very scary pool. With the Void Terror, the Void Walker's cast going off, and then you have this heal absorb that I get hit with, which is insane. I think the way to do this is you would probably heal the first one, have the healer heal the first one. You could probably use a big defensive for the second one, and then the third one you'd probably want to potion if you have it. You see us here, we wipe here because there's just too much damage happening and Anali can't keep up. And it's mostly too like me, I didn't have my defensive up. You see all my defenses were down at that point. I didn't have Fortifying Brew up. I didn't have Stone Skin Form. I didn't really have anything up that I could have used. We'll let this stuff reset, and then we go to the next ball, or we go to the next pool. Going into this pool, you can see that I should have my Fortifying Brew up. I still have both my Cast of Celestial Infusion, and my Stone Skin Form should be coming up as well. So I will have defensives for it, but it's an insane pool to try to live through, especially when you have the heal absorb going on the tank as well as the 2 DPS. So we get our stones, and we can kind of just blow this pack up, hopefully. I think this is a group where you will easily commit offensive cooldowns for this. I think blowing this group up as quickly as possible to avoid as many of those heal absorbs is the way this should be done. I would rather see a group or my group blow their cooldowns on this group of ads than save them for the boss. Like there's there's not much you can do with this boss. Gamillis or whatever his name is, that's going to increase the time that it takes to kill him. He still has this little RP that he's got to do, and then it's really just a fight where you're dragging the boss on top of ads. As long as you get some cleave in, you'll be fine. Yeah, like I said, I'd rather see my DPS use their offensive cooldowns on that group of that pack as opposed to waiting to use them here. So you see me here pulling the boss onto this this ad so we can kind of get some cleave in. The ads do share health, so any additional damage you can do onto the ads is beneficial. You see me here, like the ads are getting a little bit far away. So make sure that you, after this happens, the pool, you can kind of stack the ads again. Right here would be a good time to have the boss on top of both of those ads. So you get a lot of cleave damage and kind of like chunk this boss down a little bit. Let's see here, I'm doing a really bad job of keeping these ads on top of the boss. So I need to keep moving with this one ad right here. So you're going to get this this pull-in mechanic, and then you're going to have to break the shield for you to be able to damage the boss again. Drop your puddle on the outside, and then you kind of move back to the middle. Again, stacking the boss onto both of these ads is probably the way to go. You see me here, break my shield, and go back to this ad that I've just been following a bit. Get this close, apply Touch of Death, and then we are moving on to the next set of boss, or next set of ads. This isn't bad. You just kind of run up the ramp, pull everything on top of the ramp onto the Void Terrors. Now, making sure that you, again, get kicks on these Void Terrors is what needs to happen. Letting any of these Void Terror casts get off is a quick way to wipe. And you don't want to have like a wipe this late in the dungeon. You see us here, we get both those kicks. I commit using leg sweep just to lock everything down for a bit, and it can kind of allow our DPS to just blow stuff up quickly. Get these last little mobs up, and then you kind of just run up the ramp as quickly as possible.
We could probably skip them if we pull one of the stuff that's in the middle. Here, I'm not sure. 9%.
Yeah. This one has a tyrant in it, so we would have wanted to.
Now, hopefully, at like 91%, we should be able to just pull one big pack of ads, and we can kind of skip these last two big ass guys at the end. You don't want to have to pull those on top of everything else. Again, it's a Void Walker and a guy that has the heal absorb, which if you have the heal absorb at the same time that the Void Walker casts anything, you will probably die. So having a wipe at this point in the dungeon is definitely, you're gonna break your key unless you're 8 or 10 minutes ahead. So it's important to make sure that you get your count properly. So you see here we have 97. We have to pull something else. We go and pull this side of the group as well, or this side of the area as well. Here you have a Void Terror and a Tyrant. So make sure you kick that Void Terror, and then the Tyrant is the thing that's going to have the heal absorb. So there's another Tyrant and Void Walker at the end of the ramp up here that you would usually need to pull to get up the ramp. but there is a way you can now skip it with jumps, and we have a warlock, so he's just going to be able to gate us up where we need to go. To make sure you have some sort of heals up for that heal absorb. Man, it's just so much damage happening right now, especially from the Tyrant and the heal absorb. So you see us here, we kind of lock portal up and go to the last boss. Now there's I've seen some ways to do this last boss, a couple of different ways. The way that I've generally been doing it is me and either the healer or a DPS will be on one side and everybody else will be on the other side. But there is a way where I've seen where it's just the tank on one side and all the DPS are on the other side. And that doesn't seem to be that bad of a way to do this. You can kind of move and drop your puddles wherever you'd like. You gotta catch all the balls, which isn't that big of a deal for the most part. And it allows your DPS to really focus on damaging the boss, because you don't have, like here you have me and Bjorn are worrying about catching the ball, and it's getting him out of range of the boss. He's losing up time. So if it was just me on this side, I would be able to, drop this puddle wherever I want. I'll just avoid it when I need to go, and then I'll catch all the balls that fly on my side. So I think going forward, that's probably the way I'm going to end up doing it. You see me here, catch this orb. Good. I can go and catch the second orb if I needed to. Bjorn grabs it, even though he's out of range, so he's losing uptime. And I can drop that puddle. I mean, this boss isn't that difficult. It's a big game of just volleyball and then dropping your puddle wherever you can. As you can see, you can live standing in the puddle for a little bit. You can live taking multiple of the orbs, catching multiple of the orbs. It's not that deadly. This is really more of a healer check, I would think, as opposed to like a DPS or a tanking boss. But you can see we do end up timing it. I think we time it by 4 minutes. It gives us some little bit of IO, and it's not that bad. Overall, it's pretty clean fight minus that one wipe we had. But there are some things I got to clean up. If you like this video, like and subscribe to the channel. Comment down below of anything you'd like to see me do better, or anything I can do to make these videos better or my tanking better. Stay tuned, because there will be additional videos coming out for different tanks and DPS. Hopefully soon. I'm just now getting the rest of my tanks leveled and gearing my DPS and healer. So those videos should be coming out relatively soon. But I appreciate you guys hanging out with me, and I will talk to you in the next one. Adios.